Audi's Q5 is maligned in the enthusiast press as just another luxury crossover vehicle for suburban moms to bring in cash to the Volkswagen group. However, when you add the S moniker, does that change things drastically? Well, that's what we're going to find out here today on Rumblestrip.NET and 10-Minute Test Drive. Well, in the winter that will never end, we've had a great week with the Audi SQ5. Now, just the regular Q5, actually we've never driven the regular Q5, so don't have a whole lot to go on as far as comparing how this works against the standard Q5. How does this work against any other like medium-sized crossover? A lot of fun. This thing has been a lot of fun. You know, of course, it helps. It starts with the supercharged 3-liter V6 in excess of 346 horsepower and 354 foot-pounds of torque. We can annotate that to give you the correct information, but you know, it's pretty close. And you know, fuel economy all depends on your right foot. We've got some this week. Not a lot, but we've got some because, and as soon as someone gets out of the way here when we have a little room, we'll show you why. This can get a little addictive. Yes, it has a good sound, and when you go from a standing start and this thing starts banging off shifts even automatically through the 8-speed transmission, I mean, it's like I mean, it is tack sharp, these shifts in this transmission. So, you know, we've enjoyed it. Yes, you can sort of row your own in here, but we've just left it in sport mode and drive, and it's worked quite well. You know, and then of course the crappy weather we've had here, you have the Quattro system, and we're on some very excellent 20-inch Dunlop winter tires here as well. So that really has made this thing unstoppable here as we get to mid-January here in the Metro Detroit area. So we're in our first S version of an Audi. Of course, we've driven several other Audis here on the channel, and generally, hey, they're an Audi. What's not to like, right? Last one, the Audi Allroad, we thought was a phenomenal vehicle, although had some issues with the pricing on it. We'll annotate that so you can check that out. Of course, the A6 from a few years ago we had, that was great. But what we have here is our first chance to drive an S version of an Audi. So you expect an Audi to be exceptional, or at least really good. But when you get to the S model, you're hoping it's going to be very good. So the Q5, as we said in the open, much maligned in the enthusiast press as, hey, just another mom vehicle. So what happens when you do put the S moniker on it with much better suspension and a much better engine? Of course, we have the supercharged 3-liter V6 in here. That is 354 horsepower, 346 foot-pounds of torque. And yes, that doesn't sound like, 500, because it's not, but it gets the job done quite well, even though that this can be a bit of a heavy vehicle. Of course, the engine also makes a very nice noise. The 8-speed automatic transmission in here is exceptional. Just driving along in comfort mode, driving on standard, you don't think much of it. It just cruises down the road very nicely. You put it into dynamic, you put your foot down, and this thing bangs off shifts tack sharp. I mean, it's bang, 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 bang. And we'll roll in a bit of a 0-60 run right here, and you can hear it. sound as well, which doesn't hurt things. The transmission, as we said, the 8-speed ZF, sorry, went British on you and called it a ZF. You know, really good. The interior is everything that you would expect from an Audi. It's well laid out. It's got a few quirks in the sense that the MMI system, when you operate the knob, it goes where you want it to go clockwise. It wants to go counterclockwise to go up and down through the menus. Small quirk there. Heated seats do a really good job. They wish they heated up a little bit quicker, but you know, once they start coming on, they do an exceptional job. It's not barbecue mode, but you definitely it definitely keeps you quite warm, and it goes up most of the way up to the back. The seats in here are quite good. All the adjustments you'll probably ever want or need. Very comfortable to get in here and drive. You know, a crossover vehicle, we've had so many in here. Rarely is this something we just want to get in and drive, and this is one of them, though. It's when they come and pick it up tomorrow for the vehicle swap. I'm going to be a little sad to see this thing go, because it's been quite functional, quite fun to drive. The room in the cargo area is good, not exceptional, but it's on par, let's just say. Had no problem with all the cargo that we wanted to put in there, you know, 2-legged or 4-legged. The MMI screen is maybe starting to get a little bit small, especially compared to what everyone else is doing these days. It does a fine job. It's very clear. The fonts on it are good. It's bright, so I don't have any issues with that. It's just, you know, bigger is better, right? I mean, that is the American thing. It's very quiet on the road. It's actually a bit dangerous on the highway. And what I mean by a bit dangerous on the highway is you'll be cruising down the road, and it because it's so quiet, you really don't get the sensation of speed that you think you do. So we were driving the other day and cruising on the highway, and it's like, why is everyone going so slow? The roads are fine for a change. And you look down and you're doing 80. You're like, okay, check out, blah, blah, blah. Then you get a little more traffic, and you're trying to get around the traffic, and you're like, okay, well, I'm finally starting to move good here. And you look down, and you were rapidly approaching triple-digit speeds once again. So, you know, if you're conscious about how many points you're on your license, you know, maybe you need to think a little bit more about the SQ5. That's, you know, how is it going to go in the canyons? I couldn't tell you, because we don't have canyons. We have very few curvy roads. And the fact that the roads have been so crappy because of, you know, record snowfalls and cold, it's, you know, but like we said, with the 20-inch, it's got 20-inch Dunlop winter tires on this thing, and with a Quattro system, it's been unstoppable. It really has. All the confidence in the world you need. It doesn't feel, the center of gravity doesn't feel very high in this, so it is very confidence-inspiring to throw around as you do drive it. Steering wheel, it has the flat bottom sport steering wheel. Necessary? No, but hey, you know, it's kind of fun to feel a little boy racer in it. Thick rim here, so that's very comfortable to grab hold to. You have most of your controls that you need for the MMI and everything are up here on the steering wheel. Now, one thing this thing does have that's we really like, not just because it's a blind spot warning system here that's very common now, it's that the light for it is right on the mirror. It's very large and it's very bright, so you're not going to miss it. It's, you know, when someone's in, you know, no one can come up to you and say, Clark, you didn't tell me about the blind spot. Okay, you're not gonna have that in here. So this model has the Bang & Olufsen stereo system, which is an $850 option. Now again, referencing our all-road, that Bang & Olufsen system was maybe one of the best factory stereos we had ever experienced in a car. It was that good. So we expected pretty much the same thing in the Q5 here, SQ5 here. And I'm a bit disappointed, just because It's good. There's nothing wrong with it. It's actually quite good. It just doesn't seem quite as good as we remember the one in the All-Road. So we've got some music to roll in here. It's from a very old local band. From back when I was in college, and the less you know about how long ago it was, the better. But let's just say anyone who remembers the mid-90s in say East Lansing or Ann Arbor, and you spent a little time at the Blind Pig, you'd probably recognize this band. But anyways, this is give you a little flavor of what the B&O sound system sounds like. So it sounds good, okay? It didn't have that last like 2 or 3% that we thought we remembered from the other ones. No complaints about it. Should you tick that box? Yeah, sure, because it makes life easy. It's a B&O system. It's quality. And maybe we just need to tweak the sound settings a little bit, and it would get it. But we thought we played with it enough. We thought we had it pretty close. So. This thing has some other options in it since we're talking about pricing. Base price on this, got the Monroney right here just so we have the exact figures here. $51,900 base price. The Audi MMI system with navigation, $3,400. So it's a pretty sizable option, but it works well. Is it worth the price? In this day and age, it seems maybe a little high on it, but pricing wise, but most people are going to take that option. Fine Napa seating. It's literally called Fine Napa seating. That's at $1,500. You're looking at things going, well, could I cut that out? Is it really necessary? You know what? The leather in here is actually very nice, and it really does help give you that luxurious feel that when you look at the bottom line price, you go like, okay, that's a lot of money, but I feel like it's fair money. So what else is in here? This one normally came with 21-inch tires, but we're on 20-inch winter tires. Do you need the 21s? Probably not. They may look a little bit better, but you're probably going to get a little bit less ride quality because you're going to have less sidewall on the tires. So I would say maybe skip that and take the $800 that was for those wheels and the wheel and tire option, and put that aside and get yourself a good set, or put that towards a good set of winter wheels and tires, because that really you'll have more benefit if you're in a colder climate, I guess you should say. So total price with $895 delivery charge, $60,845. So do we think that is good value? Well, no, not good value, but it's fair value. I think this is the build quality on an Audi is going to be good. The dealer experience should be fairly good, especially in service. It feels a little expensive, but when you get in it and you drive it, and we've been thinking about that all week as we've been driving, like, wow, $61,000. Would you be okay paying $61,000 for it? And I think I would just be okay with that. I mean, meaning the more I drive it, the more I really don't care about the price. Now, I suppose if I'm scratching the check every month to pay for it, I would care. But in our head, we could definitely justify it. It feels good. It rides well. It's quiet. It does pretty much everything you'd ever want to do. It's probably not going to tow much, if anything. Sorry, I didn't look up the tow rating on it if it has one. That would be the only thing, but something like this isn't going to tow more than a couple thousand pounds. So a jet ski or a very, very light sailboat or something like that. Certainly not, maybe a couple dirt bikes. Not what it's meant for, but as a family truckster daily driver, that's still a lot of fun, and you have some performance. And I don't know if you're going to do any track days or autocross with it, but you could at least have some fun driving it, or could help you get through the winter blues while the good cars in the in the garage put away for the winter, like ours is. You know what? like it. It's a lot of fun. It's enjoyable. It makes a good noise. It's an Audi. You know, they're still hitting on all cylinders. What's not to like?